So now it's time to work on the project. And in Flask, there is nothing, there will be nothing here. Therefore, we need to create our files, the files that we need in order to work with Flask. So the main file that we need is called index. So here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to click on here, new, and then I'm going to create a file called index.py. This is the index file where it's the main file. And then in order to import Flask and work with Flask, we need to import Flask. So here, what we need to do, let me zoom in so that you can see better. Here in the index.py, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say from Flask, import Flask. And notice here that the first Flask is small letter. It starts with a small letter, whereas the second one starts with capital letter, because here we are importing from Flask itself, from the actual Flask, we are importing Flask. So we are importing the module from Flask. This is the first thing. The second thing is that we need to add some configurations so that we will be able to run this in the browser, so that we convert this file, this Python file, into a web application. So to convert this simple Python file into a web application, we need to say app, and then equals to, and then Flask, and then Flask, and then inside that Flask, I'm going to pass underscore underscore name, and then underscore underscore. This is very, very important. You need to define your application as a Flask application. And then what we need to do is that we need to tell Python, hey Python, if that name is equal to the main, then we need to run our application in the browser. So I'm going to say here if underscore underscore name is equal to the main underscore underscore main underscore underscore. Then at this point we want to, first of all, we need to say that this app.debug is true, meaning that we want to debug, we want to show the debug messages and everything that is related to debugging. And the second thing that we need to do is that we need here to call the run in order to run our project in order to run this Python file in the browser. So this run function takes two parameters. It takes the host and it takes the port. So the host is basically going to be a string. It's going to be a string of the local server that you want to use. So usually the local server is 127.0.0.1. This is the conventional local server. And the port can be anything. Usually it consists of 4 digits, and usually it's 8,000. Sometimes it's 5,000. You can even pass 8888, but I prefer working with port number 8,000. So this is all you need to add in your Flask file, in your main Flask file, in order to run this file, in order to convert this file from a simple index.py file to a web application. So this is the main thing that we need to do. Now what we need to do is that we need to run this in the browser. So how can we run our application, our index.py in the browser? How can we run our Python in the browser and kind of deploy this in the browser in order to be able to see what's going on? Well, to do that, you need first of all to open the terminal. So I'm going to click on View and then Terminal, and this is going to open the terminal that comes with Visual Studio Code. And then I'm going to say Python 3 and then index.py. This is going to run my file in the browser, and it's going to tell me basically where the file is going to run, where the file is going to be deployed in the local server. And again, if you are using Python 2, you need to say Python and then index.py. If you are using Python 3, you need to say Python 3 index.py. But I'd highly recommend using Python 3. So Python 3 and then index.py and then hit enter. And as you can see here, what's going to happen is that it's going to tell me running on this URL. The debug mode is on, and it's waiting for me to open this in the browser. So all we need to do is that we need to copy this. You need to copy this URL, copy it, click on Control and C in order to copy this URL, and then you need to head on over to your browser. You can use whatever browser you want. I'm going to be using Google Chrome. So in the browser, all you need to do is that you need to paste that URL and hit enter. And as you can see here, it's gonna say not found. Don't worry about this. This is because we didn't create any URL yet, but that means that our application now is deployed in the browser, and we can start creating URLs and displaying data in the browser.